You started a lawsuit against the state of the Netherlands.
I didn't start it yet.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the current situation?
Well, the current situation is that I am in contact with all kinds of lawyers internationally. So Canada, Argentina, Germany, California, Spain, and Italy, and that we are, and also the Ireland. So we are with all these lawyers. We are gathering information about what's happening. I just told you about the new German situation, that everything will be overruled by politics. So we just wait, because I also discovered that just getting COVID-19 from the A list, from the high consequence infectious diseases, it has happened in the United Kingdom. So, and nothing happened there on the political level. So I want to re-evaluate with my colleague with whom I started this idea. And already I had a lot of meetings about it. So, but my opinion now has changed, that it's more effective, I think, to consider. There's the PCR test that's being done in Germany. We'll see what happens there. What effect does it have? And what is the strategy to have a possible win? There's many ways to, but what if also in our emergency law that has passed recently, what if there is a little phrase that nobody has written yet, has been reading and has been putting into practice, that maybe also everything will be overruled? Then I would keep my money and all the efforts. I'd rather keep that in my pocket and the energy, because I'm not going to waste any time in court. If the courts tell us beforehand that they are powerless, then I'm not going to give them any attention and presence and manifestation power, because they are actually, if they are going ahead and along with this situation and capitulate, actually then justice capitulates if they go along with that. It's absurd. Then none of the cases should be done, and it costs a lot of money to do a case and a lot of energy. So I want to, let's put our energy where we can manage to change something, not in an empty paper court.
No,
because it's a court on paper then and nothing more.
It is. Yeah.
So,
the flu vaccines, is it true that physicians are paid to give flu vaccines?
yes, I think that's still the case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I do think that's still the case. It's something that the governments in Belgium and also in the Netherlands, they propagate it, and to propagate something in this system, there's always money involved. Follow the money.
But who is paying them?
Well, it will be probably a combination of the industries and an NGO and the government.
The government also?
Probably, or the European Commission, or
because
any committee that has
already paid. The government people are paid, and then, is that what you mean?
No, but the way they propagate these kind of campaigns, they do it with an NGO. The industry has people in the NGO, but they're non-profit, and the government, and they do a project together most of the time. So it's as if there's no corruption, but it's all covered. They do it in a proper way, like the money, it will be a little bit more difficult to follow the money.
But do you know the facts about paying money to a doctor who is giving flu vaccines? What's your experience?
Okay. I do not know exactly the amount that they get. I remember in 2007 it was 10 euros for a flu vaccine. But that's a long time ago. I don't know now.
No.
2007.
But if you have a lot of patients,
Yes,
it's
could be a lot of money.
very
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yeah.
It's,
Absolutely.
Has that been offered to you?
No, because I never had my own practice.
Okay.
In the Netherlands. I worked in the practice, and I know that then that was the case, yes. They haven't offered that to me.
No presents?
No.
No.
But I know it happened when I was younger, yes. When I was a kid, this flu vaccine, they invented it. And I know that then, in order to propagate it, they would give a car to a doctor.
Oh,
Something
really?
like that, yeah. Presents like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought so, but you can confirm it.
Yes.
But how does that relate to the oath, the Declaration of Geneva? How does that relate to that?
Well, most doctors don't have any problem with it because they're convinced that the vaccines are just good for the people.
Oh, help.
Well, it's information, and free information is not a fact. It's a little bit hidden, and there are organizations installed by our governments and by medical doctors that are very convinced that vaccines are good, and they really don't have a clue that they are doing something that could go against the people. They really think that it is necessary, and that the people that are critical towards vaccination are on the wrong path. It's just a question of information. You can't blame them. They feel betrayed by us, and we feel betrayed by them. It's a war on information.
But if I get money, I receive money from someone to tell people or to do this or to do that.
It's bizarre.
I'm not convinced that it's good what I'm doing, that it's okay.
No, I think if you would really go into that and have a talk, if you get the chance, because that's what you will find out if you try to have that talk with your doctor here, for example, in your neighborhood. Try to talk with him about this. And then you will see that they won't go into the subject, they won't go into the content, they will not give you the disclosure. It's covered up. It's secrecy. Money is always a little bit secret, you know, how much you earn and those things you don't tell anybody. So money is not, we don't talk about it.
Okay.
So it's the system that is working quite well, because you have to be modest about your money, so you won't talk about it. And,
And what do you know, what's in those vaccines? For example, the supposed danger of mercury. People are talking about. Do you know about that?
Yes, I do know.
And
yes.
It is dangerous.
Absolutely. It's a neurotoxin, and it's described in the in WHO has it on a list of extreme neurotoxins, but they do permit the companies that make vaccines to shoot it into the blood vessels of little babies in hundreds of times the dose that should be avoided, because it's already toxic. So this is very also doctors in general, general practitioners don't know this.
Don't know this?
They don't know this. It's simply not told. It's simply not, this is not covered in any of our, when we study in the studies, it's not covered. It's not studied and covered in any course or webinar about vaccination. They will not talk about it. They will just talk about the aims, the epidemiology. They will talk about how many times you have to have the vaccine. They don't talk about the secondary effects of the vaccines and the possible damage. Just not talk about it, then it does not exist. It's what mothers do with their children.
Oh,
It doesn't exist.
Hmm.
And if you talk about it, you're also you're entering a taboo.
Yeah.
So you're making yourself vulnerable to exclusion, excommunication, rejection. And possible even the threat of being a betrayer or being paranoid or all kinds of stigma. Yeah,
Wow.
that's the psychology.
But how can flu vaccines help in the first place if the flu virus keeps mutating?
Yes.
That makes no sense.
No, they don't know whether it helps. So there's no proof to that.
So it's only about the money.
Maybe also about the idea of being protected. That can help. You have a placebo effect.
Placebo effect. Yeah. Okay.
People want to do things for their health. And if you just tell them, you should take the flu vaccine, it's good for you, they will do it. If a doctor with authority says that.
But they got mercury injected.
Absolutely, yes.
And that's very damaging.
It can be possibly very damaging, yes. Yeah. Possibly, yes. Yeah, you have all kinds of mechanisms to maybe encapsulate it so that you won't be hurt so much by it. But it's also, known that it is in the tooth, and then it drips out. It comes out to the structures in our neurologic system, and it goes damaged there. That's something that has been investigated largely and widely, and has been proven to be true. So, yeah.
I often hear...
Most dentists now don't use mercury in their fillings.
No.
That's very good.
Yeah,
so we do go forward with health. But now the mercury comes from the vaccines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often hear that flu vaccines affect COVID deaths. Is it true or false?
There has been a correlation, and it has already been published in a paper that there's a correlation between the countries. Like Belgium has a very high level of flu vaccination under their population, their older population, and they have more people dying from COVID and being ill from COVID heavily, and that is the same for the northern part of Italy, Madrid, and I think also for Wuhan, but I'm not sure. And all those countries had, in Italy I know there was even 2 vaccinations given to the people in 2019 and to 2020 in January. So it has been shown, but it has been shown a correlation. So you cannot say it's the cause. You have to do other investigation and examining to prove that. So there's a correlation.
Okay.
That's it.
And is it true that the cause of death is blamed on corona when it's not?
Yes, we have many testimonies from families, and we have testimonies from doctors that even people that had a car accident and were in the hospital for a couple of days and had a positive test, which doesn't mean anything, as we learned, they have been said to be COVID deaths. Yes. In Ireland, all those deaths have been retracted because the coroners and the doctors have been receiving notices of liability. If it were so that these were COVID deaths, then those doctors were put on notice that they should have given the right care to those people, knowingly the triple hydroxychloroquine, zinc, azithromycin, which can help, vitamin D, etc., etc. They should have had the right treatment, and if they wouldn't have had the right treatment, it could be possibly manslaughter or genocide. And then the doctors would be guilty for that, and they know because they have their oath. So they all retracted the COVID-19 as the cause of that. So now in Ireland, on the official states, the official statistics, there's only about 100 COVID deaths instead of 1,780. So there are all kinds of pathways to get to the people and to make them aware of what is happening. So we're trying to do all those, we're evaluating, and we're looking at what is the best practice, and we're doing that with the World Freedom Alliance, with Dolores Cahill and Martin Byrne. And Dolores Cahill is the immunologist, and Martin Byrne is the barrister, the lawyer. And we're looking at that with a lot of countries. How to proceed to show the facts. Yeah.
But did they ask you to blame some disease or
Yes,
death?
they did. Yeah.
And what did you do?
I didn't do it.
You didn't do it?
No. I got a message in the electronic dossier, and that I had to fill in the forms, COVID-19 as that cause, and I did not. I just did my examination in that moment, like, is it true that this is COVID-19? No, I see that it is probably heart failure and a pneumonia, so I fill in the truth.
They didn't like it?
I never heard anything about it.
Okay.
Might be that they don't know. Because this goes to this goes to a statistic organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yes, it's also part of the problem. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but surely an autopsy should be able to prove the cause of death.
Well, that's not the case in all cases. It's not an autopsy is not going to prove you yes or no COVID. It can show other things, and then you can still have a enormous discussion about what has been causing it. But we know that all those people in the care homes, they have not had a CT scan to show the status of the lung tissue, which is one of the clinical, not clinical, but actually examining proofs radiographically to show this is really the problem is in the lungs, and it's a COVID-like, COVID-19 type syndrome, which doesn't mean that it's SARS-CoV-2, because that still hasn't been shown to exist. But there's also the electromagnetic radiation that could cause these problems.
Okay.
So we just don't really know, as medical doctors, what we are looking at.
No.
And some doctors have also come forward to state that they see things that they have never seen before, that it's different. Well, let's investigate. Let's be a doctor. Yeah. Let's examine that. But it's a taboo. And that's the thing why I am so sure something isn't right here. And we have to go to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
Because humanity has a right to know what is really going on.
Yeah. Good case.
Yeah.
Does air pollution affect this virus?
Don't know.
You
Air pollution affects the virus? What do you mean then?
Like, what do you think about chemtrails containing barium and aluminum? Does this affect the virus?
No, but barium, aluminum in chemtrails if you have it in your lungs and you have particles in your lungs, they are receptors for electromagnetic radiation. So
Yes.
there you get into the electromagnetic radiation problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's influencing.
That can be a possible pathomechanism, a mechanism of pathology in our lungs. Absolutely. That has to be investigated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can even do a PhD on geoengineering in this system.
Yeah.
But there have been great efforts to avoid any studies on the effects of geoengineering on the medical part. So
yes.
there we have the same problem with this is not even access to science, but here's a block on science.
Yeah.
Mega block.
Yeah, we experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We
So
experienced that.
we'll have to go through that. But of course, doing examinations and doing research, it costs a lot of money. You need people. That's the most expensive, of course. But you also need a lot of technological assets to do the research. And
yeah, and they don't want us.
They don't provide us and facilitate this.
What do you think is true about the influence on 5G on the virus? People are talking about it.
What do I think is the influence of 5G or
5G? Yeah, on the virus. Is there some connection between 5G and COVID?
Well, we have to say that I was already very worried about 5G because I'm aware, I have studied the effects of electromagnetic radiation on people. So I was already busy with 5G before COVID arrived, and I said to my fellow colleagues, this is a very special timing for a virus to arrive because it's a big distraction. And of course, in the beginning, I didn't say it is a distraction, but it could be. So now I know it is. So I think it's something that possibly covers up for the effects of 5G to sort of cover the effects of beam weapons on people, telling the masses that they're not beamed, but they are infected. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it is.
So you just beam people away because their lungs and their tissues are full of barium and aluminium and mercury and whatsoever, and then the glyphosate and all the toxins from the food that we get. So you just tell people you now have COVID. You make a test that is not accurate and valid. There you go.
Complete control.
Yes, a big fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. They sometimes say you know your enemies. Do you know them?
Well, I don't have any enemies. I don't have enemies.
Not that you're aware of?
My enemies, no, my big enemy is ignorance. It's just people that don't want to know or don't know and opposed to information that smashes their vision, that smashes their opinion, or that undermines their arguments. That's the enemy is ego and fear.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, but behind cognitive dissonance is the fear.
The fear.
To lose their status, to lose their straw, the straw which they're holding on to. So
their comfort zone.
Their comfort zone.
Yeah, yeah.
It's much easier just to shoot the messenger.
Yeah.
Just shoot him. just baffle him,
Yeah.
smash him. So that's what people are doing. So my enemy, I don't really see it as an enemy. I understand.
Okay. That's beautiful. Have you ever been in contact with our famous Ab Oosterhuis, the veterinarian?
No, but I know him from this pandemic where he had a major role in 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
And a colleague of mine had a blog about him. And he was following all the things he was doing and exposing that. So he's a veterinarian indeed, and as all the pigs and everything is chipped, if you look at the cattle and sheep, he wants to chip us too. That's clear.
Yeah.
He wants to make us cattle.
And
Vaccinate
earn a
us.
lot of money.
I think he already has enough money. He wants power.
Yeah.
It's about power. It's not about money.
No.
You don't need so much money. Some people are not satisfied with money. They're satisfied only when they have power over other people. That's giving them more of a thrill or a feeling of success.
And the famous bottle of whiskey when he sold vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not.
It's old news. It's
10
years old.
But
so.
every evening, every talk show, he is there. So
Oh yeah. I don't watch television. I'm sorry.
It's the only one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And that's why I asked.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Talk to him because.
Talk about him. Well, I can't say anything about it. Just that he's a person that is willing to, sacrifice then all his evenings to propagate this pandemic.
Yeah.
He's carrying it. And people only have to look at the facts, but they don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
They rather look at the sensation and the picture of the person.
Yeah.
I seriously don't trust him.
No.
No.
Nobody does, but he's in every talk show.
Yeah, but then we have to address the media again.
Exactly.
Let's not talk about him because he's just being invited.
Yeah.
But if you go along and see who are now the managers of all those talk shows or of all those radio stations, television stations, it's all ex-politicians. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's politics again. There we are.
Yeah. It is all over the place. Yeah. Hospitals would be strongholds of the Freemasons. And doctors, including veterinarians, would actually be trained by Big Pharma. What is your take on that?
So you said hospitals are...
Some people say they are strongholds of the Freemasons.
Mm-hmm. Strongholds.
Bolwerk.
Oh yes, strongholds.
That's the bolwerk.
Oh yes.
In Dutch.
Yeah.
And doctors, including veterinarians, would actually be trained by Big Pharma. And so
yes,
I
it's
thought...
true.
It's true.
Yes, it's true.
Okay.
Because the Big Pharma has a big hand in all the protocols that we have to study when we study, when we are examined. Yes.
That's why you are studying medicine.
Yes, they do the steps in that way, in a linear way. They don't think broadly, and in that linear way, you come to the pills.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of money going on.
And I told you about the infiltration from bankers in Big Pharma and in the universities. So yes.
It's not about health anymore.
Oh, it's been for 130 years. It has not been about health.
No, I know.
But of course you have to see that all doctors, when they want to study medicine, they are very bright young people that want to help other people, and that is not it's not they're being misled, but it's not their fault. I would say it's all about awareness, and they keep you so busy in these studies. It's not very difficult medicine to study, but they keep you very busy in also political processes and in working, if you want to do your work very well, you will not have time to think.
It's distracting.
It's an occupation and
Yeah.
also a calling and a mission and a vision, and you can do very good work as a doctor, even in this system. So I do not say that every doctor is a betrayer, but they are misled and politically also implicated because they have their jobs and they have their houses and their children and their career and their status.
Yes.
So lots of concerns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your opinion about HCQ, or hydroxychloroquine?
Hydroxychloroquine is a well-known agent for 70 years, safe medicine, and it has anti-inflammatory properties, and it has properties to protect against the parasites. So it's interesting that it has proven apparently to work really well for people that were injured with a syndrome, of which I don't know where it comes from exactly, but it is also known that hydroxychloroquine works against the effects of electromagnetic radiation. Interesting. I will only say that I'm not propagating that everybody takes hydroxychloroquine, because we first have to investigate and examine the clinics of what we are seeing now in the hospitals, and if people are very ill, what is it exactly they have. So I'm not for a prophylaxis because there are side effects. Also from this medicine, you can feel a little bit down and you can feel mentally unwell with hydroxychloroquine. So it's not a good idea that everybody starts taking this yet, but we can investigate it. And I'm also not. I want to advise people to take care to have a doctor or somebody that knows how to dose it and when to stop it. So don't take it on your own. That's my advice. Or if you do, check it with online information. So a high dose of hydroxychloroquine is really not a good idea. That's what the government did. They did a testing. They did actually a study, but they gave people extremely high doses of hydroxychloroquine, which can be lethal, can be dangerous for people. So, and of course the results of those studies weren't positive. But I guess that has been retracted, that paper. So
Okay.
very, very troubling thing, and the troubling thing that our governments don't let us help people with hydroxychloroquine, whereas a doctor in New York, Dr. Zelinsky, has proven to help more than, I think, 800 patients with it. Well, we need more studies. I do agree on this special case, this special syndrome, but it's weird that they have taken it from the market, because it was even a good medicine for arthritis, etc. So it's a crazy story, this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Our governments do really weird things, and they don't base themselves on science doing this. So something else is going on. And they inform my colleagues in a very, the information that my colleagues got about this comes from only one side.
Yeah.
Which makes me think this is really a corrupt fraud again.
Yeah.
And that's to propagate the powerlessness of our doctors. Because if you don't give the right information, people are indeed powerless. And if you take away the medicine that doctors could possibly give to their ill patients, you make doctors powerless again. So it's a very nasty game.
How do you see this whole situation coming to an end?
awareness and love. So we have to unite as people. And let's also stop telling each other that we own it, that we have the real medicine here, because, well, the regular healthcare has proven to have a big problem in healthcare, and they don't want to be helped by people that feel capable in this. Let's stop the fighting. It's a fight over egos, over this method, that method. Let's unite and bring it all together. That's my opinion.